Welcome to a special episode of the Jay and Rob Toy Show. No witty puns to get going. Let me just bring in the Zartan to my Zorana. Mr. Jay Bartlett, here he is.
What? You're my sister? I'm your
Uh,
sister?
Aren't I, in some way, shape, or form, basically blood related? Isn't that how that
Well, it
works?
would have been Xandar and Zartan, but that's okay. I'll forgive
You
you
know
on
what?
that
I
one.
just went with the more obvious choice. We'll let people figure out why. That's on them. You're here now. I'm here now. This is our mega holiday kickoff show. It is December 22nd, 2021. What's going on? How are you, everybody out there in the face friend interweb YouTube place that we come and see you every week? How are you doing, Mr. Jay Bartlett?
I'm doing good. I'm tired. This time of year is not my favorite just because everybody and their grandma seems to be super busy. So I'm anxious for it to be over. And for everyone to get back to a more normal, calm life again in January, hopefully. How about
Yeah,
you?
I'm kind of in the same boat. Time seems to be slipping away faster than I realize. Days are just disappearing, and I'm not a fan of the shorter days, as they call it, with like less sunlight. So we've obviously passed the solstice recently, the darkest day of the year. So I
What?
kind of like that every day going forward actually has a little bit more sunlight. So that's what I look forward to, and I really love like in March when you realize, it's a little bit more sunlight at night. It's not like pitch black by quarter after 4 at night. I look forward to those days.
And it's cold in Ontario today. It's -2, -3. It's bitter cold. So
Yeah,
that
it's not even the
sucks.
temperature though. It's damp, man. I feel like such an old person because my folks would always say it's not the cold or the temperature. It's just damp. You feel it in your bones. But I tell you,
No, that's the temperature.
I feel it in my
It's
bones,
cold.
and then I feel it in my bones when that number is what it says that it is. This is kind of our big Christmas episode. I mean, not really, but we're gonna say it is because that's the popular thing to do this time of year. So Merry holidays, Happy Christmas, whatever you want to say. We were actually asked today, Jay, to take a second while on our show and craft and conjure a message for everybody that watches Jinx Esports TV in Canada. So, howdy do, happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching the Jane Rob Toy Show Action Figure Adventure. And we look forward to further being in front of your eyeballs next year. Do you have something you want to craft? How do we do this? How can we take advantage of our time together to say thank you to everybody that watches our show?
Well, I'd like to, of course, thank everybody in chat, Nathan and Lisa. Of course, thanks guys for showing up and spending at least an hour of your evening with us. And to everyone watching on Jinx Esports, Rob and I can't thank you enough for tuning in and watching us talk about toys via just like this in the podcast format, or going across the country, going across North America as we do an action figure adventure. I'm so humbled, and I talk to many of you each and every day. So thank you very much.
That's it, folks. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas from Mr. Jay Bartlett and me, Mr. Rob McCallum. We will see you in 2022, Jinx Esports TV Canada. Now on with the rest of the show. I hope a bunch of people from Jinx are watching. I have seen a bunch of spillover people that watch the 7:30 episode and then come join us at 8:30 for our live stream. And tonight we featured the collection of Tracy and Jason, who we met while filming Action Figure Adventure Season 2.
Yeah.
They got to have their collection showcase this week, and they're pretty pumped. They're tweeting like crazy on Twitter about being part of things, and such nice people to drive down from where they're located to meet us in Halifax and say hey and record some interviews in some very sunny and warm climate.
And as I remember being behind the scenes there as you interviewed them, their little friendly rivalry between who was the better turtle, Raphael or Donatello. I think that was really
Right.
cool. And I love to see anybody's passion to that degree about whatever IP you're into and just loving a character so much. And their collection, wow, just phenomenal. Absolutely
And here they
phenomenal.
are. They are watching us evidently
hello.
right now via the YouTube stream. Thank you so much. Look at those 3D glasses on Jason's head. Now that just shows he's committed to this whole.
They're from the
culture.
future. That's why. Like, who has
They're
that?
from the future, the basement of the future. I love
Yeah.
it. They're adding more stuff somehow to their entire setup, so I can't wait to get a 2.0 look at their collection at some point in the future. Jay, our show tonight, we have decided, without any discussion whatsoever and kind of on a whim, that we're going to reveal all the key pieces that you got for Action Figure Adventure Season 2.
Yeah. That kind of came about because the message of the entire show is to help the kids, the Children's Health Foundation here in London, Ontario. And we want people from, all walks of life to have lots of time, if they're interested in these items, to be able to save up, to be able to spread the word, however you want to put it. So yeah, I liked your idea. I was really shocked when you came to me with it a couple of weeks ago, but I'm ready. You know me, I'm used to keeping the secrets, so it's nice to kind of spill the beans.
Yeah, you'll be able to talk. And that's not to say that there might be some twists and turns going ahead, but the current plan is this. We are advertising what is locked in right now as an auction item. And of course, we'll talk about what makes it an auction item, what makes it truly auction worthy.
What's funny?
Course.
You're going to obviously guide the conversation, and everything from season 2 is in my house right now. And I got to tell you, it's locked in my one spare room that I don't really ever go in. So you're going to have to remind me, because I got to be honest, some stuff I don't even remember. So
well, I've got a list, and
I knew I was counting on you to do that. So
I'm hoping I haven't forgotten anything. I've pulled simple screen grabs from the footage of the journey of the trek. Yeah, and like you said, the idea is to give people time. Season 1, we went the eBay route because we wanted to reach as many people as possible online, anywhere in the world, that if they wanted to bid on an item, they would have a familiar, trusted system to, plunk down their cash, get it, it gets shipped out to them. Easy peasy. This time we're going to do something a little bit different. It's a little bit of a combination claim sale and live auction, but we're going to do it directly through Facebook. So we're going to post several images of these items at some point on our Facebook page, probably in the new year, early new year. Some nice close-up pictures, because of course collectors really want to see what they're getting as much as possible. And then you'll be able to kind of enter your bid in there. We have to talk if we're going to have a reserve on these, if we need a minimum threshold, or if we're just going to, like we did in season 1, it starts at $1 and we'll see where it goes. Yeah. And then you'll have probably 3 or 4 weeks to bid, against other people to see where it goes. And then we'll basically do a countdown show where I think, Jay, maybe this year it'll be you and I, just like this, wrapping it up to see who chimes in. Maybe a couple guests will come on and join us to talk about some key pieces. Maybe some other people in the community we know can chime in from wherever they are. We've got to get creative, because once again, we are facing a reality where COVID is squashing some of our earlier plans to do something bigger for the auction. So we may be limited to a remote setup like this.
Power is much larger than us, and it seems all too familiar. As we started to plan the auction for season 1, this pandemic came to light, and we're like, okay, so we had to think quick on our feet, and we came up with the plan B. And for the second auction, we had an idea, and now it looks like things are rapidly changing by the day, at least here. I think worldwide, everyone's going through it. So we'll have to see where we are. But yeah, that's the plan so far.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's hard to get upset about any of these things anymore. All you can do is just roll with the punches. You'll have a chance to grab these figures, and you know exactly where to plunk down that bid. What we need your help with is sharing the hell out of the post. We're going to have one master post with all the items listed below in the comments with a picture, and you sub comment underneath it. And then we'll do a countdown show, and we'll kind of revisit those prices as needed when we decide those logistics. So you want to help us? You want to raise some money for the Children's Health Foundation, support Action Figure Adventure Season 2, and of course, Jay's mission. This is where it all starts. Tonight, the big reveal, big news, folks. you get to find out what Jay scored. Now, we're not going to talk specifics. We're not talking what Jay paid. We're not talking where he got them. You have to watch the show for that, but you will see the item. Cool?
Yeah, I mean you're leading this. I'm just following your lead, sir. So I know better than to talk on my own. So you spill the beans and I'll follow.
So Jay bought a toy store while we were on the road. Jay, do you remember when you bought the whole store?
I did. There was, I don't know, that whole week and a half was like a blur.
No.
A lot different than the first season. A lot more intense because it was just all together. Actually, I liked it a lot better that way.
Do you want to talk about the flavor or the approach that you had to the items this time around? I mean, it doesn't really matter how it contrasts to season 1, but I think that there is a noticeable different approach given the items you ended up with.
I mean, I don't know what I'm allowed to say as far as.
Well, let's talk about it after. We'll see what
Yeah.
we can glean.
Yeah, you lead the way. Like I said, I don't want to say too much. So
I love that we've got to this point. Save it for camera.
Oh, dude, it's been 10 years of this. I'm used to it now.
All right, enough stalling, folks. Here we go. I've got it queued up. Series of images, and the first one is. There we go. So again, we won't say where this was, but Jay scored a sealed in-box Masters of the Universe Wind Raider. Okay. Now, Jay, what makes a sealed in-box Wind Raider auction worthy in your opinion?
Oh, just look at the box. First of all, that artwork by itself is worth it. Listen, it's an antique. Anything sealed from the 1980s period is worth it in my opinion. Any Masters of the Universe vehicle, a lot of them had the Mattel plastic window, and they weren't meant to last, right? So anyone who collects vintage Master stuff knows that window often cracks. We've seen it in the Land Shark, the Battle Ram, etc., etc. Sorry, not the Battle Ram.
Dragon Walker.
The Dragon Walker. So this one doesn't have that. This one is pure cardboard and it's sealed. And this was something, and I was trying to remember where we were. This was something that I don't think I saw right away. And it was kind of stacked up. And it's in really, really great shape. And I think the Wind Raider is one of the most iconic vehicles in the whole Masters line, even to this day. I couldn't pass up on that one.
And I love this little detail right here. It might be hard to see. People might have to zoom in if they're using their phone on the replay or whatever, but there's a price sticker there. I love the vintage price stickers. Might not be for everybody that wants that like complete gradable example, but to see the vintage toy store price stickers, I love that. So again, these are not in any specific order at all, but the Wind Raider, ladies and gentlemen, a very cool auction worthy piece. Like you said, it's a classic vehicle from a line that is just on fire right now. Certainly hard to make an argument for it not to be auction worthy when it's sealed in box. Anything sealed, right? Like that's almost like, okay, that's a big check mark right away.
Yeah, and we were really looking for that key Masters piece since we started the show. And I think this is definitely one of them. We had the Dragon Walker briefly in last season.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit too obscure, a little bit too of a B-side for me. So that got traded up. But this one hits the spot.
Okay. Moving ahead. The next.
Oh, God.
The next big item reveal. And I don't even remember.
Listen, I'm more worried about what I'm going to look like in the image. Like, so
hey, listen, buddy. It's not about you. It's about the little dollies on the shelves. Okay, it's about the shelves.
Well, that's a bit about me. If I'm looking stupid.
Not really. See, we don't even see you in this picture of you holding a some sort of green thing. I don't know what is this?
Yeah, so that's a deep cut.
That
one we're not 100% sure on. That is the Dragon Warlock, who is the mount of John Blackstar from the Gloob toy line. He's very rare, especially to have the wings intact. And that one we saw almost when we were done filming in this particular location. I saw it, I think, almost on the way out, and he was in the window. And I tell you, that is one gorgeous piece. I mean, obviously, there's nothing more iconic in that genre than Battle Cat, but for my money, Warlock is a close second.
Well, what's interesting about Warlock in particular, you mentioned the wings. They're almost always missing, or one is gone, or they're broken, or they don't have any resistance in the kind of shell, that because it's all one piece like Battle Cat, and so those wings just get floppy after they get used and the plastic gets rubbed, so they don't stand up. And of course, there's two versions of Warlock: one with green wings and one with yellow wings. And the green one, from all the research I've been able to do, seems to be the far rarer version. It is open, but it is complete, and it is in fantastic condition.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased with this. This one might have been a little bit more selfish on my part because I love the toy so much, and it's not one that I think I've only seen it a couple times when I was a kid, and I was just really blown away that it was there. And yeah, well, we're still on the fence about this one, but so far it's there.
So far it's there. I like it for the auction for a bunch of reasons. It represents a toy line we haven't really seen too much of in the series. I think it might be an affordable piece compared to maybe something like a sealed Wind Raider. So I think that can draw a lot of eyeballs to everything that you. We'll see. It's your show. It's your mission. We'll find out. All right. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Here we go. Number 3. Okay, this is a double whammy. Okay. Now, people might not know what we're looking at, but in particular, we're talking this Doctor Who set right here. This is what Jay got. The Doctor Who gift set. No, we're talking
as much as Bombshell is great, Smokescreen is great, and the Predacon, I can't remember his name at this moment. We're talking 2 iconic G1 characters from the first wave, and that is, of course, my personal favorite, Starscream, and Megatron's right-hand man, Soundwave, on top of each other, no less, in the same friggin' store.
Oh, but it gets better. The Soundwave, talking about condition, doesn't even have the stickers applied to it. Both are complete in box, but both are ridiculously mint. Like,
that's right.
You open, you smell mint in the air.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that just shows you, like I said, all the auction items, they're all in a spare room in my house, and I haven't looked at them. I put them safe away from the harmful sun into a closet, and that's where they've stayed. So I forgot that didn't have stickers, but we wanted to make sure that, first off, they were legit, so they weren't knockoffs, because we've dealt with that before.
Yeah.
And so we took them out, maybe played with them a little bit, and yeah, they were amazing. Soundwave was so great because you really got transported back to 1984 the first time you opened a Transformer, because that's, other than getting a DeLorean and going back to 84, that was as close as you're going to get to opening a G1 Transformer that is not sealed.
I just remember you essentially with the white gloves on, being super careful to make sure that they transform and not wanting to touch, in particular, the chrome on Soundwave, because it was still quite glistening and sparkling. But, G1 Transformers, time is going to be an enemy on these things, much like the G.I. Joe O-rings of the 80s, I think.
And you know what is this time around more than last, I think I really don't want to give up a lot of these items, so I might be bidding myself. I don't know. Like, again, I haven't seen these since we shot, right? So seeing that Starscream just making me drool right now. In fact, I'm gonna go play with it. No, I'm just totally kidding. Yeah, those are incredible, and to see Smokescreen and Bombshell like that as well, like that store was fantastic. And Tracy, we can't say, but you might be right.
We won't confirm or deny where any of the items come from. That's obviously the motivation to watch the story and see how it unfolded. You also see prices in this case on some of the stuff. That doesn't mean that's what Jay paid for it. These are Canadian prices in particular. It's sometimes there's flipping, trading, negotiating. This is what they were marked at retail as well. So I tell you,
Sometimes there's forceful direction.
sometimes that pays off. Sometimes we got to get out of our comfort
Sometimes,
zone and listen
sometimes you
to
get
our own inner
embarrassed.
voice about what we say
Sometimes
we
you
set
get
out to do.
misled, sometimes.
Sometimes we say
Friends
these
or
things
foes.
at we make these big, broad, universal statements at the beginning of these journeys we
Sometimes
go on,
directors
and these
are
directors
bullies,
just remember everything.
entitled directors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's unfortunately, I remember what you say. I am the keeper of the footage, and I will feed it back
That's
to you
good
spoonful at a
that
time.
you remember, because I do not. So thank God one of us does.
All right, number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Okay, I can't believe you found Grubby from Teddy Ruxpin. That is a key auction item right over here. Certainly auction worthy. Was that Galoob as well, Jay?
So people who've seen season 1 are like, hey, wait a second. That item was already in Action Figure Adventure, and you would be correct.
The sail barge.
This one is a little bit different, and not the skiff. The skiff is not with it. It's just Jabba's barge. This one is a loose example, which is great because the one we had last time was completely factory sealed from HasLab. This one was open on display. Ours does not have the figures, so it's just you get the Yak face on card, which has not been opened, and you get the Jabba the Hutt figure that comes with it. Trying not to sneeze here.
You do get the box though, and I believe the shipper box as well.
Yeah, you do. You get everything. So it's basically been gently removed and handled completely with care. This thing is mint. And I got to tell you, because the one we had in season 1, obviously, like I said, was sealed. I never got to touch it, to look at it up close, to hold it. But this one we did. And yeah, I can't really give away where we got it, but when I took this home with me, I got to spend a bit of time with it before disassembling it, and wow, do I want this thing, because the sail barge is done nothing but go up in value. A lot of the HasLab stuff most has. This is the very first HasLab item, and it's just skyrocketed in value. So I'm huge Star Wars fan, and it's just an honor to have this wonderful piece for season 2.
I really don't have anything to add. This is clearly an auction-worthy example
It's
of an
gorgeous.
item.
It's gorgeous.
And to see it on display, I think really helps sell it. It's cool to have something sealed in the box and yada yada, especially shipping wherever. But it's cool to see this. You really truly appreciate everything.
That was funny. Last for season 1, I had to make little YouTube promo videos, and trying to come up with one for the sail barge sealed in a box was the most challenging thing I had to do. So I'm glad this one was opened.
I want to give a shout out to Kyle, who's watching and chiming in. He's saying he's bequeathing his 1,000+ of his comic book collection to his 17-year-old grandnephew this Christmas to massively expand what he has already as a pass on the appreciation and knowledge along with them. Wow. That is a very cool Christmas present, passing on the culture and the story. That's something he'll likely never forget and always have kind of going forward. So good on you, mate. That's a great Christmas present. Number 5, Jay, are you ready?
I am.
I'm not. Okay, I'm ready now. Here we go. So here we are. What I love about this is Jay, his death stare. Like, I can't believe what I found here. Now, Jay, he is looking at and holding Prince Dargon, a sealed example. Prince Dargon and the dragon. What? What are you laughing at?
Anyone who knows me knows that how much I love sectars. Okay, and to find the greatest sectar, which would be Prince Dargon, sealed with his mount, the Dragon Flyer. Is pretty crazy. Now I can only hope, and I remember, hey, look, Nevermind, Nirvana Nevermind in the top right. Look at that. That's cool. I just noticed that.
Hey, look, Harlem Globetrotters.
a sealed version. Again, we were talking about how Mattel did the glass windows and Coleco kind of followed suit, which is one reason Sectaurs didn't do so well. As you can see, the box is huge, and it took up a lot of real estate on toy shelves. Sectaurs didn't do that great, even though it was just a fantastic line with huge imagination. So to see something like this intact with the glass, or sorry, the plastic not broken, is very rare. And I kind of took a chance on this one because Sectaurs isn't, one of the big five. It's a very obscure line from 1986, and that's it. So, any toy fan out there can appreciate this and appreciate the rarity of this item.
But when do you see a sealed Sectaurs figure? Like, I understand what you're saying about taking a chance on something that's outside of the big five. The big five being Star Wars plus G.I. Joe, Transformers, Turtles, and Masters. Those are like the five biggest brands of all time. Sectaurs is clearly, a rung or two below. But when do you see something like this? And I love just the look on your face here. People may know this gentleman over here in the corner in the shadows a bit, lurking there. Doing business with Jay, but Jay's just giving him the eyes. He's giving him all the eyes. He means super business about this, and you were able to secure it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so Prince Sargon and the Dragonflyer, which is awesome. You can imagine just putting your hand right into that, right? What? That's what you did. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. Here we go. Number 6. Number 6. Again, Jay with the crazy eyes.
Look at my eyes. Yeah.
But look at this. So this, Jay, this is Mr. Max Ray from the Centurions in a sealed boxed example. Nonetheless, what is Centurions, Jay? What makes this item in particular auction worthy in your opinion?
Again, you asked me earlier. I can explain maybe a little bit about where my strategy was. I really wanted really show-stopping pieces, and last time around we really went with all the main 5, as we've just said. I don't know if it was just because maybe we didn't see a little bit more of the obscure stuff, and this time around we did a little bit more. Of course, we went much farther too. But anyway, Max Ray from Centurions. Good luck even finding loose versions of Centurions nowadays, unless you're going online somewhere, going into a toy store and finding Centurions. And if you ever do, I almost can guarantee you they are stripped of everything but the figure, all the accessories. Centurions are very modular. Their weapons can go anywhere on them, so you can kind of create your own kind of design. And almost every time, if you ever see a loose version, they're missing at least some of the parts. So this one is factory sealed, never been opened, and I had never seen one, I don't think, in person, factory sealed. So I saw that right at the back of this particular store. I went right to it. I have a radar for this stuff.
Oh, because I actually pointed it out to you, but I'm glad your radar worked.
It did. My radar is like a brick, my friend, right over the head. Yeah,
brick, right over the head. I agree. I'd neve seen a box Centurions, and to find out they're almost like triangular. It's hard to tell from this image, but it actually forms a point at the back. You're right, man. You don't see these things with their accessories. It's ultra rare. The only time you see that is when someone kind of dumps a whole collection of them and they've been kept together. So Centurions, again, a niche line, but to have a sealed example, just how do you pass it up? You ready?
Well, you don't pass it up. You do what I do. You make a silly face, and then you do some negotiating.
Pick it up.
And now here we go. And it's in the auction. All right, next item. Next.
So here we are again.
Look at that. Will you look at that?
So we're looking at Sectaurs again, Jay.
Yes, we are.
And this time it's not Prince Dargon, but this is General Spydrax and the Spider Flyer. Now, Jay, I don't know what the odds are on finding one sealed example of a Sectaurs, but two different figures, like the main hero and bad guy. Like that's those odds have to be astronomical.
I've seen sealed singular figures with their sidekick insects, but I've never seen any of the mounts. Now maybe I would expect to see Skulk or Pinsar, but to see basically the He-Man and Skeletor of the line, right? Dargon and Spidrax in the same trip, in this for the same season is crazy. And
within days
again,
of one another.
yeah, and this particular Spidrax is mint. Like there's not a blemish on the box.
It's case
just
fresh,
gorgeous.
folks. It is just like and out on the stuff. You can see where we are here. Again, we won't give it away. This is a return visit. That's all I'll say. And it's in a protective case because it is that kind of precious and delicate. But Jay, what makes it auction worthy? Just the condition that it's in, or do you think it's just because of the character, or what do you think there?
Well, I mean, it's an obscure line. Pretty much everything I said for Dargon, except I think that General Spidrax is much more of a draw. He's insane looking. His mount is disgusting. It literally looks like a living tarantula with wings. It's just a piece of art. It's gorgeous, right? Yeah, and he's got the whip and everything. I just think he's such a cool character. And again, you don't see sealed sectars. You might see Transformers here and there. You might see G.I. Joe here and there. But to see sectars, nope. So that's 2 chances I took on one of my favorite brands of all time.
And I think there's a world of difference too, right, between a sealed Transformer and a sealed Sectars, because Transformers had millions of units.
Yeah.
Like made and sold.
Yeah.
I don't think Sectars had that many by comparison. It certainly did not grace the shelves nearly as long. So it makes finding a sealed example like this much cooler and like a perfect collectible for anybody hardcore into 80s.
They had the Brave Star syndrome, unfortunately, where the toy got rushed out and the cartoon didn't come out till a long time after, I think almost a year. And by then, no one cared because in the 80s, there was 10,000 different shows and toy lines, right? So if you didn't pick up the kids' attention right away, it was on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And unfortunately, Sectars only got 6 episodes, and that was it.
Unfortunate, but we're moving on to item number 8 for everybody out there watching. Here we go. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Stop. Well, here we go. 2 shelves up from General Spidrax down here. Look at that.
Yeah.
Boxed Eternia.
Yeah, that one is I don't know, man. That's something special, that one.
You know what? We should take it out of the auction. That doesn't quite scream auction worthy to me.
Take it out of the auction and put it into your Masters collection. Is that what you're
well, I do have a little shelf space back here, just so
a little shelf space.
Well, that's all I need for something like this, right?
The size of that thing.
Yeah, just look at the size of Jay's head compared to the box. That should tell you how big this thing is. It's really large.
Box is smaller than the flag box, but not by much. It is one huge box. So again, this was later in the Masters line, and the price tag on this thing was outrageous. I don't know anyone. We talk about the flag a lot. We talk about how we all knew that one kid who had the flag.
Yep.
I didn't know anybody who had Eternia.
Nobody.
I really didn't even know this existed, to be honest. And you and I were the He-Man guys. I knew later on, after we were kind of almost out of it, that this thing existed. And then again, it was like this myth. Like we didn't know what it was because it wasn't in the show. It was kind of like this weird lion that had really nothing to do with anything. And then there was a bridge to Grayskull and a bridge to Snake Mountain.
I always thought it was part of Thundercats. Like, oh, that's not Masters.
Yeah.
That's a Thundercats thing, isn't it? Because it looked a little bit like Cat's Lair, and I don't know. It was way beyond my play days as a kid. I don't remember ever seeing it in the store. It was something I kind of coveted as a collector later on years to follow. But clearly an auction worthy piece.
And it shares similarities with the flag, where it's extremely fragile. The plastic on the tracks is brittle, and time has not been friendly on this piece. So this is one you're going to want to set up in your collection and never touch it again.
Yeah, or leave it in the box and never touch it again, because like so many play sets of the 80s, there's a million little pieces, and you do not want to be taking it, putting it up and taking it apart, putting it up, because something will break or something will get lost.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess Eternia box, sure, auction worthy, whatever.
Pretty proud of that one.
That's a good one. That's a good one, because you were on the hunt for that in season 1, and so the fact that you nailed it down for season 2 was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right, here we go. Number 9. We are looking specific. There's so much to look at in this image, and people might go back and just kind of look and see what's in the background here. But in particular, Jay is holding a sealed Taiko Dino Riders and Ankylosaurus, but it's sealed. This thing not been opened. It's a pretty cool piece.
This was one, and often you will come out from behind the camera to kind of talk with me because, I need that voice. I need to communicate. This was one that I wasn't 100% sold on, not because Dino Riders aren't great, because they are, but that is super duper duper obscure, in my opinion. So, I think I couldn't pass on it because it was factory sealed. And you don't see Dino Riders loose. You sure as heck hardly ever see them in the box. You don't. And to see a sealed one, couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, again, when you're looking at what makes something auction worthy, sealed from the 80s is like a huge component. And if not, it needs to be complete in outstanding condition. You're right. Dino Riders is really hard to find loose. It's really hard to find complete. It's really hard to find with boxes, let alone complete sealed factory examples.
And it was one
I
that
think it's just conspired against you. That it's impossible to say no.
Yeah, it was one that I didn't have a huge personal connection to, only because I only ever had one as a kid. And again, they came out a little bit later. So I only had one. So it wasn't something I knew a ton of, but holding that and, we might have seen one or two others during our journey. It just made me want to get them 100% because they're so cool.
And again, great box art. I don't like how you can see right here with your thumb, this actually flips open to have a window display.
Yeah.
It would be cool to have both of them, but at least you get some awesome art there. And Taiko, not many action figure lines by Taiko, but again, I believe another Sunbow Marvel production were responsible for these episodes, and there was only, I think, 11 broadcast and then 3 additional released on VHS later. So another short-lived run.
Yeah, and it's a scale that we really like, the 2-inch scale, like Mask,
the micros,
like Starcom. Just the figures were extremely detailed and had great articulation, had little weapons, and they were really small. There's something about that micro size with that insane detail that just makes it super cool.
All right, moving on to number 10 of auction items. What is the... You know what? I don't remember at this point either, which is really interesting. Oh, of course. This gentleman. So this is a man, and this is from Return of the Jedi. But in particular, Jay, where would people know this figure from?
A man is in probably 2 or 3 frames on the top left of Jabba's palace. He's one of the background characters, but he was one of the final to be released in the Kenner line, one of the final 14 or 15 characters. He does have his staff, so he is complete. As you can see in my hand, he's holding his witch staff there.
The shrunken heads
on it. Yeah. He's really cool. I would have liked to see a lot more, but every frame of Jabba's palace, like the cantina, is just iconic, where you could have a story from almost any one of those creatures and beings. We had Yak Face in the first season, and I just have a really, really powerful connection to those final figures, being the Endor Luke, Stormtrooper Luke, Yak Face.
Power of the Force ones, yeah.
Yeah, the Power of the Force stuff, the Anakin Skywalker. So this one I was drawn to right away, and Yeah, I think this one's going to do well. I know this one's going to do well, especially since it's 100% complete.
Top 5 Star Wars figure for sure. Power of the Force stuff is always rare, like you said. Never released on a Canadian card. He was also released as part of a second run of a Sears exclusive 3-pack for Jabba's Palace. So, couple ways to get him, but again, super limited because Star Wars by 1985 wasn't all that exciting as it was 2 or 3 years earlier, and that's a long time in the world of action figures when you've got the likes of Transformers, G.I. Joe, and He-Man, and
And I will say
everything else.
too, with modern Star Wars collecting, there's a ton of figures that come out almost every week, it seems, but not a lot of them retain their value. But one thing is for certain in the Star Wars collecting community is that the original Kenner Star Wars figures always will hold their value because they're the originals. So this is a
Yeah.
safe bet.
And it's a collectible set to get. There's like 92 figures or something like that. There's not hundreds of figures like there are now. It's manageable to go after all of them. And like
Yeah.
you said, because it's the first release and because they revolutionized action figure history, they're always going to be sought
Absolutely.
after. All right, we got one final item here. Jay, do you remember what it is?
Nope, sure don't.
Well, we are still, I think, in a galaxy far, far away, and that's with a carded, carded, unpunched Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars in the Vintage Collection. Obviously, the most sought after and collectible piece of modern Star Wars collecting. Few other items up there could be mentioned in the same conversation, but this one in particular is really sought after. It represents the first time, I believe, a non-live action Star Wars character was released for the Vintage Collection, meaning something from the Clone Wars. They did almost a hybrid image beside her where it's not quite cartoony, not quite illustratively photorealistic. It's some sort of weird mishmash they've done. And now that the character is going to have her own series and has appeared in The Mandalorian, you'll see more updated versions of that to resemble Rosario Dawson. But this one, man, whew, again, you thought you had things set, and then we came across this in our journey.
Yeah, I can speak from personal experience. I've had that figure. She's on my wall back here in my collection since the release of her, which I believe was 2012. And that figure has done nothing but go up in value. And mine's not unpunched, and it's worth, oh God, it's got to be almost 1,000. It has to be. This one is unpunched. It's never sat on a peg. Obviously, it has a protective case with it as well. And the character, I mean, Ahsoka is just such an amazing character. Loved her in Clone Wars, loved her in Rebels. But for me, she really spoke to me when she popped off the screen. Rosario Dawson portrayed her, and that's when I really loved Ahsoka. And since her appearance on The Mandalorian, she's just, that figure's gone way up in value. If you're going to get any Ahsoka Tano figure, this is the one to get.
Yeah. It is always on everybody's most wanted list on new collectibles. Just outstanding. So that's 11 key items, folks. Now, Jay, looking back on those items, anything stand out? Do you remember getting them all now? That it's been a while since you've kind of
I remember. Yeah. And for everyone out there, it's a blur, right? We go from town to town, location to location, sometimes 2 or 3 in a day, and you just lose track of it all. Rob is blessed because he gets to edit everything, so he gets to relive all this stuff. But for me, it's just like, oh my God, I forgot we went to that place. I forgot we saw this. And even though, it's all up in the room upstairs, I've kept it sealed up in a closet, I'm very pleased with what I found and what we decided on. Cause you helped me here and there with what we think we should do. I think it's great. And, it might not be over yet too. Some items might be subbed out. We'll have to see what happens. I haven't made any final decisions yet, but for right now, most of those I think are pretty safe.
Yeah, in the coming weeks, Jay's going to take some pictures for the sake of everybody so they can have a little bit closer look at the images, and they can have a kind of see what the back is like, the sides, if there's any kind of defects that need to be kind of pointed out, much like an eBay auction. But you'll see it all on our Facebook page of Action Figure Adventures, facebook.com/Action Figure Adventure, and you'll be able to have a good look at this stuff. And when we post that and have our master post that gets pinned to the top of the page, that's when you'll be able to bid on this stuff, and hopefully we'll have nailed down all the items, and also have our kind of a deadline in which that we kind of do a show like this, our live stream, and we count down, and we basically, like we did picture in picture tonight, we will go and look at the auction itself, or where the claims are, and just count down and say, okay, we're going to start at the top. So it could be, we might start with Ahsoka, whatever order we list them in, talk about the figure once more, and give people, a minute to chime in with any last bids, or it's going to go to the person who has the highest bid that's there. We are working on the shipping side of it as well. We may try to ship this stuff out of the US. Currently, they're all in Canada. We know there's a lot of people that in the States would benefit from a lower shipping price. But again, trying to make that happen with COVID restrictions and protocols is a little bit difficult right now. So
it is. Yeah.
We're hoping a few weeks will alleviate some of that and give us a better idea of how to manage it at the very least. So.
Yeah, I'm stoked, and I hope everyone watching gets a good idea of what they're going up against. Hopefully you can have some time to think and decide, hey, Nathan and Cindy, I need that attorney. I can't live without it.
Oh, I love this right here. So Cindy says, I want to talk Nathan into the sail barge, but I'm afraid I'll have to talk him out of Eternia. So here's a husband and a wife couple that are going after two of the bigger items, potentially. Maybe there's room for both, guys.
There's only a few Star Wars play sets that are legendary. I would say there's probably 5. That barge, although it is modern, is in that top 5. So if you want one of the top 5 all-time Star Wars play sets, that's it. And of course, Eternia is number 1 for Masters of the Universe as far as legendary goes. So we can do both. You got that right, buddy. You can do both. Absolutely. Take them both. Pick them up.
Pick them up. You two can bid on it, secure it, and make it happen. It's as easy as that, folks. It really is. How does the weight feel, Jay, that it's off your shoulders and now it's out there? Now you can talk to friends about it, and because it's in the works.
Yeah, that's great. Now we can kind of talk to everybody about it. I just, I'm always not second guessing myself, but I'm always kind of replaying the items in my mind. It's like, should I have done that? Should I maybe have picked up blah instead, kind of thing. So I'll always wonder that. That's just how I work. Yeah, Nathan, come on by, and we'll have a little party. We'll have a Masters of the Universe party or a Star Wars party, whatever one you pick up.
I gotta say, going through the footage again in playing the home game, which is what I love about Action Figure Adventure and Nintendo Quest, kind of the stuff we do. You get to play the home game along with you. Would you do what Jay did? Would you pay what he pays? Would you get something else? As the editor, the first person who gets to play the home game, I don't think there was too many like what I would call mistakes or things that you did wrong. I really don't. I mean, there's some cool items you come across, some noteworthy stuff that you leave behind. But in my gut of guts, I truly feel like you've got the most auction-worthy stuff when trying to populate something with 10 key items. There's other stuff 100% that we see and talk about and look at and consider. But for the sake of put it into an auction, to make it saleable, to attract the right people, to get it at the price that you can, to flip it for a margin for children's health, really tough. Really tough.
Yeah, and I think going for a little bit of the more, hey, I have that tattoo, Tracy, by the way. Going for a little bit of the more obscure lines. I think I learned a lot from the first season where, iconic symbols like Optimus Prime and Megatron are fantastic. But I kind of wanted to do maybe this stuff that you're not going to be able to see wherever you go, kind of thing, right? So I don't know.
I honestly think, man, those sectors, that Dino Rider and that Centurion, all being sealed examples of well-known and remembered lines, but impossible to find. How can you say no to those?
Well, I couldn't. I certainly couldn't. I remember when we saw Spydrax, that was pretty early on. That was like, yeah, he's coming with me. Like, and if it wasn't for the auction, he would have been coming with me just because of how amazing, just to see a piece of history like that still intact. So hopefully people will also agree, but you're going to have to sign an agreement, anyone who buys the sectars, that you promise that you're not going to open them, because I will die inside.
Well, they get to do what they want with the figures. Once they buy it, they can open. Maybe they want a perfect, complete example that's nice that they get to play with. That's their choice. But that Spydrax is in better condition than you would find it on toy shelves. Like I said, case fresh. My words, not retail words, but it looks like it was literally just right off the assembly line and now into our auction.
Yeah, it's it's out of a time warp. It looks like it was, you always hear the stories. We heard a ton of these when making Nintendo Quest, where someone had a rare Vectrix, and grandma put it in the attic and forgot about it for 30 years, and then you went up and found it. It was just like it came out of the Sears warehouse. It was just brand new. That's exactly what that's like. Yeah. Jamie, you wanted a spider puppet for years. Yeah, you know what? I have Skulks, and that one's creepy enough. That one's actually a tarantula, and I'm looking at it right now, and that thing still freaks me out. I hate bugs. Blah.
Yeah, but they're so cool as puppets because they just work on their own, let alone putting an action figure on the mount. It's
an ingenious design. It was an ingenious toy line, and the figures were so giant, and the articulation was great, and they all came with like 5 or 6 weapons, so to speak.
Yeah,
they were great.
Do you want to get to action figure spotlight for the week?
Sure. Yeah, I brought one off the shelf because we were doing revealing the auction items. So I picked one up that I showed on my social media already during our filming, but it was one I wanted to show because we are showing the journey for season 2. So I'll go first here. This is from one of my favorite movies of all time, which is not Star Wars. It's the 1980 81 hit Clash of the Titans. And we found this. I don't want to give anything away. The same place we saw Spydrax. I'll just say that. So this is my Pegasus gleaming white, and of course Perseus, who is complete. I'm gonna rotate him so you can see his little sword, which is always missing. It's a line of only 4 figures. They all come with the exact same sword and the shield. But this thing rode with us in the toy box all the way to all our destinations. And if anyone knows the Mattel Clash of the Titans stuff, the figures are rock solid, but the Kraken and the Pegasus are like China dolls.
Yeah,
this thing is
you can see the wings shaking as you rotate it.
Yeah, this thing is so light and fragile. You could crush it in your hand, literally. It's like paper. But this was one that didn't survive my childhood. This is my childhood Perseus, of course, but Pegasus did not survive. So to see this, and look how white it is. You can't even see the detail. It's so blinding. It's just gorgeous. I love this. I love this toy.
It's also waxy a little bit. I found when we were looking at it. It's not like plastic. It's like a weird soft plastic.
And it's really, goes along with a lot of the 80s mounts where it was just one solid mold, save for the wings. There's no articulation on it, but none needed. It's just a beautiful, beautiful toy, and I'm so happy to be reunited with one of my heroes, Pegasus and Perseus.
I got to tell you, when you got that, and of course, looking through the footage and we saw a few different examples of Clash of the Titans at different stores. It was a really cool line, and it's so strange that there's only 4 figures plus the Kraken and Perseus. So small, easy to collect, but super cool for whatever reason, right? Like, I don't know. There's some of those like what I call pre-Masters lines that are really grabbing my attention. And
this is just my thoughts, okay? So if you're a kid, and back then toys were marketed strictly for kids, and you watch Clash of the Titans, it's not unlike Black Hole, where it's not a kid's movie. Clash of the Titans is very scary and very violent. So I can see why a lot of parents didn't buy the toys, because they probably didn't want their kids watching the movie, especially the Medusa parts they're horrific.
I kind of got 2, but I'm just going to showcase everything I got because I literally got it in the mail. Before I get to quickly, I want to ask, now that our toy bet is off and we still haven't come up with stakes yet, maybe we'll get his stakes next week of trying to recreate the bet. Did you buy any new figures since last week? Now that there's no stakes, and I haven't seen your social media post, by the way.
I got a few today. I haven't shown them. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, look forward to that on the Jay Bartlett YouTube channel then.
I'm just gonna take some stills. There's some older legends, and God only knows I've shown enough Marvel Legends on this show, so I spared everyone.
Did you get Forge?
I didn't get Forge.
Did you get Jubilee?
Oh, you saw that picture? No, I didn't get it. I got one of the villains that's both our favorites, and I never seen Mr. Sinister before until I saw him in person. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I got him. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's a little something for everybody to look forward to when you share some stills. That as far as my action figure spotlight this week, it's going to the NECA world of cartoon turtles. So there's a couple I'm going to show because they both arrived in the same package. This is Dirtbag and Ground Chuck. These were past my time for the cartoon. I do not remember them at all.
Wait a second.
I remember Ground Chuck. I remember Ground Chuck.
I thought you were done. I thought that was the end. I thought
here we go. This is what I'm getting into. This is the point I'm getting into. Sometimes when a figure is just so cool, you can find ways to convince yourself. And in this case, these guys, like, this is a giant box. So these figures are hefty and weighty. I remember Ground Chuck as a Playmates figure, but I don't remember Dirtbag. Somebody else can chime in and let me know if they actually made him.
Well, you're not a Turtles fan. You're not a Turtles fan. That's why.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not a real Turtle fan. Sorry. I don't know Blast Attacks. I'm not a real Masters fan either. So that's the first one I got. Now, these ones I did remember, but I don't remember them on the cartoon show, but I loved the figures. And that's Wingnut and Screw Loose. So again, huge.
Wow. Box. Way different than the vintage.
Yeah, way different than the Playmates. Like really in your face. Both of these are going to get opened. I have no attachment to keeping these in the box. So I can't wait to have these big, meaty figures on display. Again, there's not too much on the packaging to really showcase for you guys, whatnot. But there's an example. Like, look how big his gun is. It's just massive, and all the accessories that go on his wings. Love the Playmates Wingnuts. When I saw that they made this was an insta buy, and I'm actually more curious now going forward, like in the cartoon run of stuff, what are they going to put out there that is just such a cool figure that I can't say no to? Because there's nothing on my list that I need. It is so like pick and choose, and I'm happy not getting a single one. But if the figure is really cool, pick them up.
If you want to indulge me, since we have, I'd say, give or take 5 minutes left. If you want to talk to the audience by yourself for a few minutes, I might have a little surprise for you. So why don't you make your screen big and blow some hot air, and I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, it's a Christmas surprise.
Okay, now that guy's gone, what I really want to talk about is where the show is going to go in the future. It's just going to be the Rob McCallum toy show. Clearly Jay's not committed. I only ask for an hour of his time every week. He didn't even make it the full hour. He's jetted off to go get some sort of Christmas surprise. I am hoping it's his resignation or something of the likes. I do want to take this time to say thank you to everybody that is watching and chiming in here on the live stream. It's really awesome, and it's been cool to come back to doing this week by week after taking several months off for production of season 1 and season 2 of the Jay and Rob Toy Show and Action Figure Adventure season 2 to kind of pick up and, essentially meet every week with you guys again. It helps me out. I'm sure it helps Jay out. I don't know if he's actually ever coming back. Oh, he's back. He's back. I didn't think he was coming back.
The headset was never turned off, but I guess I'll see everyone. It is the season, and because we can't be together on Christmas, a lot of times we, would spend Christmas Eve together. I got you something, and I'm going to share it with you right now and share it with everyone else. I know that you love. I'm out of breath from running up the stairs. Oh, I know that you love the cosmic beings as much as I do in the Marvel universe, and I got your Christmas present here, buddy. Hopefully you don't have, but this is for you. This is Adam Warlock.
No way.
Right
No
there.
way. I'm gonna make that big.
Yeah,
Whoa. That's
So,
wild. I knew that
yeah.
they released him as part of Guardians of the Galaxy because of his little cameo in there, but
There he is. So he has the
wow.
little wizard hand things going like Silver Surfer does there.
Yeah, the cosmic power.
The cosmic power. So that's for you, buddy. Merry Christmas. And next
No
time I
way.
see you got Adam Warlock. So there you go.
That's wicked. Thanks, dude. I don't have a single thing for you. I just don't. Unless you want a Ninja Turtle. You want a cartoon Ninja Turtle?
I would rather not. Thank you. I'm done. Although I was in a toy store today and I did see the NECA Splinter, the cartoon one, and it was so hard.
Oh, with Baxter. Yeah.
It was so hard. But I couldn't do it. Yeah.
That's a great figure, man. That's a great figure. I'm glad I have two. Merry Christmas to you.
I want to say to Kyle there, if you want to blow up Kyle's message. Yeah. I really appreciate that, man, and thanks for watching and supporting Action Figure Adventure. That's great.
Well, that wraps up for another show, I think. Of course, Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Jay and I certainly hope that you get to enjoy some downtime with your loved ones and even just yourself to kick back and put your feet up and put all of the cares and the trouble that is happening in the outside world maybe on hold. And just take a few minutes for yourself, whether that's opening some figures that you haven't opened, playing with some toys that you've been meaning to get to, or just, enjoying a frosty holiday beverage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate, whatever you believe in. I don't care. I just hope that you have a good time doing it. And thanks as always for watching us. And be safe out there. And have one for me.
A Festivus for the rest of us. So we've already name dropped your YouTube channel, but Jay, remind us again where we can see you.
YouTube, just Jay Bartlett. Check it out. I got a video up now with Stewart of Trek Yards and Michael Mercy, and we do a table read of Transformers the movie, and we act out the characters. It's hilarious, guys. You got to check it out.
There you go. I know what I'll be doing on Christmas Eve, checking that out, getting some good laughs. And speaking of which, on Christmas Eve, Faking Filmation will be releasing a new video for all the backers. If you backed Faking Filmation, you got a unique Vimeo code to check out The Return of Faker, James Etox's cartoon. James and I recorded a video on Monday breaking down the process of what went into it. As a good hour and 15-minute presentation of his 31-minute cartoon, kind of going through it all. So if you back that campaign, you will get to see what some people are calling a long-lost episode of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So you will love to see that, I think, on Christmas Eve. And that was something we came up with just out of nowhere, because why not? Why not make Christmas extra special this year? So if you want to get at me, I'm on Twitter at Rob McZob. I'm on Instagram at Rob McCallum Films, at the Jane Rob Toy Show, or at Action Figure Adventure. We end every episode the same way. For the love of toys and the warmth of scarves, Jay, take care of yourself
and each other,
because playtime, Jay,
dude, it's always the best. It's the friggin' best. Okay?
Nothing will beat playtime. It's true. Happy holidays, everyone. We will see you next week for our big New Year's countdown show. We haven't talked about it. I'm throwing it out there right now. I apologize. We're going to make it up as we go. See you next week.